So it's on YouTube now. Right, got it. And Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We have Anil Prabhu, Anuradha Mataji, Bhuvaneshwari Mataji, Praneshwar Prabhu, Ian Prabhu, Ambada, Meenam Jatani Mataji, Padma Mataji, Philip Prabhu, Shankar Prabhu. Thank you so much for joining today. Sumadhur Radhika Mataji, Madhavi Mataji, Ujjwal Mani Mataji, and others will probably join. And if somebody wants to put a reminder in the group, that would be great. So let's do the invocation, and we will try and complete chapter 19 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, once again welcome to this SB overview session. In the last session on last Thursday, we did chapter 17 and chapter 18, two chapters. Usually we do one chapter in a session. It's an overview, and where we will try and give the essence of that chapter, and also try and read a couple of purports from that chapter as well. So chapter 18 describes the birth of the two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And so they were, after they were born, they were growing like anything. They had huge bodies. They were touching the sky. So they could terrorize the entire universe. And the younger brother Hiranyaksha, who took birth first, the first conceived comes out later. We saw in our session last Thursday. So Hiranyaksha is the younger brother. So he kind of toured all over the universe, and then he reached Vibhavar, Varuna's abode, and he asked for a fight. So Lord Varuna then said that I'm now old, I'm not fighting any longer, so you better go and fight with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. you will be the right match for you. So then Hiranyaksha approached Narad and then found out whereabouts the Lord was. And that time, the Lord was actually in the Garbhodaka ocean. He took the form of Varaha, boar, and was lifting Mother Earth from the Garbhodaka ocean. So Hiranyaksha went there and challenged the Lord for a fight. So that time, Lord put the earth back in its place and then started fighting. And so Lord was playing with this demon for some time. And in the meantime, Lord Brahma, along with the demigods, came and offered prayers. And in those prayers, Lord Brahma said, my Lord, this is enough, you just kill him. So it's the right time. So it's better you kill this demon. So that's where the chapter 18 ended. And we will be reading chapter 19 today. And there are 38 verses. So if I can ask 4 devotees to read the entire chapter, and then we will discuss a few things from that. So let me share the screen. Chapter 19, yeah. So Shankar Prabhu, you joined today, so you may read actually first 10 verses. I think not sure if Madhav Kumar Prabhu is here. If he's not here, then I can ask the devotees to do. Yeah, so he's not here. Looks like. Shankar Prabhu, first 10 verses, please.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Text 1. Sri Maitreya said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayer with a glance laden with love. Text 2. The Lord, who had appeared from the nostril of Brahma, sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was talking fearlessly before him. Text 3. Struck by the demon's mace, however, the Lord's mace slipped from his hand and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderfully. Text 4. Even though the demon had an excellent opportunity to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, thereby kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord. Text 5. As the Lord's mace fell to the ground and cry of alarm arose from the witnessing crowd of gods and rishis, the personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarshana discus. Text 6. As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hands, and the Lord contended at close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who had been born as Hiranyaksha, a vile son of deity, there issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who were witnessing from airplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you. Pray dispatch him. Play no more with him." Text 7. When the demon saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshana discus, his senses were overpowered by indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent, and he bit his lip in great resentment. Text 8. The demon, who had fearful tusks, stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain." Text 9. O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on the Lord in his boar form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, yeah, another one, 10, text 10 as well.
Okay. The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Next 10 verses, maybe another devotee, Kamal Ronia Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Very good.
Text 11. When the Lord saw the mace flying towards him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent. Text 12. His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. Text 13. He now took a trident, which was a rapacious as a flaming fire, and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmana. Text 14. Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshana, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda. Text 15. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut to pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced towards the Lord and, roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivastava. He then he went out of sight. Text 16. Hit in this manner by the demon, O Vidura, the Lord, who had appeared as the first boar, did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body, any more than an elephant would when struck with a wreath of flowers. Text 17. The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Yoga Maya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was near. Text 18. Fierce winds began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner, as if thrown by machine guns. Text 19. The luminaries in our outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with masses of cloud, which were accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky rained pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. Text 20. O sinless Vidura, mountains discharged weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses armed with tridents appeared with their hair hanging loose. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And so next one, maybe Sumadhur Radhika Mataji, if you can read the next 10 verses.
Yes, sure. Hare Krishna. Cruel and savage slogans were uttered by hosts of ruffian yakshas and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or chariots. Text 22. The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshana, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by the demon. Text 23. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. Text 24. When the demon saw his magic forces dispelled, he once again came into the presence of the personality of Godhead Keshava and, full of rage, tried to embrace him within his arms to crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. Text 25. The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fists, but Lord Adokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as Indra, the lord of the Maruts, hit the demon Vritra. Text 26. Though struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, the demon's body began to wheel. His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets, his arms and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead, like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. Text 27. Aja, Brahma, and others arrived on the spot to see the fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such a blessed death?" Text 28. Brahma continued, "He was struck by a forefoot of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in seclusion in mystic trance. While gazing on his countenance, this crest jewel of deity's sons has cast off his mortal coil." Text 29. These two personal assistants of the Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demoniac families. After a few such births, they will return to their own positions. Text 30. The demigods address the Lord. All obeisance unto you. You are the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and you have assumed the form of a boar in pure goodness for the purpose of maintaining the world. Fortunately for us, this demon, who was a torment to the worlds, has been slain by you, and we too, O Lord, are now at ease in devotion to your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Padma Mataji, if you can do the last 8 verses, if you are there.
I am. Thank you, Prabhuji. Text 30. The demigods address the Lord. All obeisances unto you. You are the enjoyer
I think
of all
that's done, Mataji. 31st onwards.
Oh, pardon. Sorry. Text 31. Sri Maitreya continued. After thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all demigods, headed by Brahma. Text 32. Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, I have explained to you the personality of Godheads coming down as the first boar incarnation and killing in a great fight a demon of unprecedented prowess as if he were just a plaything. This has been narrated by me as I heard it from my predecessor, spiritual master. Text 33. Sri Sutta Goswami continued, My dear Brahmana, Kshatta Vidura, the great devotee of the Lord, achieved transcendental bliss by hearing the narration of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the authoritative source of the sage Kausharva, which is Maitreya, and he was very pleased. Text 34. What to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whose chest is marked with Srivastha? People may take transcendental pleasure even in hearing of the works and deeds of the devotees whose fame is immortal. Text 35. The personality of Godhead delivered the king of the elephants who was attacked by an alligator and who meditated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, the female elephants who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. Text 36. What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the personality of Godhead? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. Text 37. O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in the wonderful narration of the killings of the Hiranyaksha demon by the Lord, who appeared as a first boar in order to deliver the world, is at once relieved of the results of sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahmana. Text 38. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord. ODS Saunaka. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So the last two verses, so we are reading the chapter 19 of third canto entitled The Killing of Demon Hiranyaksha. So the last two verses of this chapter, 37 and 38, they give Phala Shruti. Phala Shruti means hearing. Phala means fruit. What one will get, or what does one gain by hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord? For each pastime, if it is a pastime of a devotee also, there is some fruit that is given. Ultimately, one gets, one will gain bhakti, eventually repeatedly hearing the Lord's and Lord's devotees' pastimes. So here, the Phala Shruti, the fruit that one can get by hearing this pastime of killing Hiranyaksha is mentioned here, that one will be delivered from all sinful activities. And sinful activity of such as killing a brahmana. Killing a brahmana is the greatest sin one can incur. So even that kind of sin will be relieved of just by hearing the pastime. In the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 7, text 28, it is said that unless one is freed of one's sins, one is not able to take to the bhakti path. So when the sins are gone of us, then we become more pure, then we become more attached to the Lord and his devotees. So that is the potency that is given here. So what it says here, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure just by hearing or explaining this to others, or when someone explains, we hear that, or it simply takes pleasure in this wonderful narration of killing of this Hiranyaksha demon. So one will achieve that fruit. And it awards, it is said in text 38, it is said that it awards extraordinary merit, all these some of the material benefits also given here. And it is said, one who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord, O dear Shaunaka. So text 38. Let's read the purport of text 38, and then we will discuss the pastime. So once we know the importance of hearing and reading, then we will be able to hear the narration very attentively. So let me share the screen and okay, let's see who is there. Anuradha Mataji, would you like to read the purport, please?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport. Devotees are generally attracted by the narratives of the pastime of the Lord, and even though they do not prosecute austerities or meditation, this very process of hearing attentively about the pastimes of the Lord will endow them with innumerable benefits, such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable aims of life. If one continues to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of narratives of the pastime of the Lord, at the end of this life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal transcendental abode of the Lord. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. That is the supreme, sublime result of engaging in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to spare some time and listen to Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended 5 items of devotional service, namely to serve the devotees of the Lord, to chant Hare Krishna, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to worship the deity of the Lord, and to live in a place of pilgrimage. Just performing these 5 activities can deliver one from the condition of material. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So the highlighted bit is very important here. And thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. Means they enjoy here as well as after leaving the body also, they get great benefit. That is the supreme sublime result of engaging in devotional service. And the beginning of this is, it is mentioned, just listening to Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source. Prabhupada often mentions this, hearing Bhagavatam from the right source time and again. So we should not hear from anyone and everyone. We should hear from the devotees who are in the path of Bhakti Marg. And Prabhupada also mentions that 5 items of devotional service is very, very important. This is actually stated by Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion. So first one is namely to serve the devotees of the Lord. Okay, Vaishnava Seva. So think, how can I serve the devotees of the Lord? Vaishnava Seva. How can I please the devotees of the Lord? Number 1. Number 2, Nama Ruchi. Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then number 3, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Shravanam. Vaishnava Seva, serving devotees of the Lord. And Nama Ruchi, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And Bhagavata Shravanam, hearing to Bhagavatam. And the worship of the deity. Shri Vigraharadhana of the Lord, and live in a place of pilgrimage. So this live in a place of pilgrimage is the pilgrimage is place where the Lord is glorified. Our temple becomes a pilgrimage. Our home becomes a pilgrimage when the Lord is worshipped. When we sing a bhajan, a kirtan, when we glorify the Lord, when we just simply, this whole process of reading and hearing Bhagavatam makes our own home into a pilgrimage. So these are the 5 items that are very crucial for one to advance in bhakti. So we are very, very fortunate. Our acharyas, acharyas have given us a nice formula. All these 5 items are fulfilled if you come to Mangal Harti in the morning to the temple. All these 5 items, just by attending Srimad Bhagavatam Mangala Harti class, we discuss, temple, going to temple is like a holy place. We chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. The first one is Vaishnava Seva, or Vaishnava Association, Vaishnava Seva or Vaishnava Sangha. So we will get that. We will also worship Tulsi. We will also worship the Lord. And we will hear Srimad Bhagavatam as well. So these 5 items are very important, and they can all be attained and acquired in the Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning. So on that note, I would like to just bring it to your attention that every first and third Saturdays of the month, we are doing a full morning program starting from 5 a.m. in the temple. So there will be initially deity worship, and then we worship Tulsi. After that, we chant 16 rounds, and then we welcome the deities. Then there is Guru Puja. We also worship Guru. And then there is Srimad Bhagavatam class. At the end, there will be prasadam for everyone's pleasure. So if possible, try and attend this program. And better late than never, you can come at any time and join also. If you're not able to join us at 5 o'clock, then you could come at 7:30. And then attend Guru Puja, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and then eat prasadam. That is also very nice. So let's discuss this pastime. So the first verse, I really wanted to discuss the first verse. There is something very important in the purport of the first verse of this chapter. So in the first verse, it is said, Maitreya said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayers with a glance laden with love. So we saw how Lord Brahma and other demigods offered prayers to Lord Varaha, Bor, in the previous chapter, requesting the Lord to kill this demon Hiranyaksha. So they were very pleasing to the Lord. But here it is mentioned, which were free from all sinful purposes. So Prabhupada writes in Bengal, the dacoits they worship. It is said that in Bengal, the dacoits used to worship Kali for the fulfillment of their own sinful desires to plunder others' property. But they never went to a Vishnu temple because they might have been unsuccessful in praying to Vishnu. Therefore, prayers of demigods or the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are always untainted by sinful purposes. So sometimes even dacoits also worship, but they do not worship Lord Vishnu because they have ulterior motive. And by worshipping Kali, they get sometimes their desires or ulterior motives are fulfilled. Whereas, Prabhupada says that they never go to Vishnu temple and worship. So, yeah, they might have been unsuccessful in praying to Vishnu. That's one point I wanted to bring up. And so this is the fight between the Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha. So in the first instance, Lord's maze was slipped, and all the demigods, they were a little bit shocked, and then the demon did not fight because Lord was unarmed, and Lord got his Sudarshan discus, and then this Hiranyaksha's maze slipped away, and then Lord did not kill that demon. Then Hiranyaksha, then he used trident, and he threw at the Lord, and that was completely smashed by Sudarshan disc. And then Hiranyaksha used his fist and started hitting the chest of the Lord. And that's where the mark of Srivatsa is there. So then Lord with simply, he simply slapped this demon at the root of the ear, and this demon fell down. So we will read a couple of purports from there. But in the course of that fighting, this demon Hiranyaksha also created a lot of tricks, a lot of magics, but they were all kind of contracted by the Lord with this Sudarshan disc. Let me read a couple of. So 24 to 26. So when the demon saw his magic forces dispelled, he once again came into the presence of the personality of Godhead Keshava. Godhead Keshava, and full of rage, tried to embrace him within his arms and crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside of the circle of his arms. So let's read the purport to text 24. So who would like to read? Yes, Satish Prabhu.
Yes, I can read, Prabhu. Yeah. So in this verse, the Lord is addressed as Keshava because he killed the demon Keshi in the beginning of creation. Keshava is also name of Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all incarnations, and it is confirmed in Brahma Samhiti that Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, exists simultaneously in his different incarnations and expansions. The demon's attempt to measure the Supreme Personality of Godhead is significant. The demon wanted to embrace him with his arms, thinking that with his limited arms he could capture the absolute by material power. He didn't know that God is the greatest of the great and the smallest of the small. No one can capture the Supreme Lord or bring him under his control. But the demonic person always attempts to measure the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. By his inconceivable potency, the Lord can become the universal form as explained in Bhagavad Gita, and at the same time he can remain within the box of his devotees as their worshipable deity. There are many devotees who keep a statue of the Lord in a small box and carry it with them everywhere. Every morning they worship the Lord in the box. The Supreme Lord Keshava, or the personality of Godhead Krishna, is not bound by any measurement of or calculation. He can remain with his devotee in any suitable form, yet he is unapproachable by any amount of demonic activities.
I
Correct.
felt this was a very beautiful purport, and yeah, you can go and read it. The essence is there. What Prabhupada is trying to say here, demon Hiranyaksha was trying to capture the Lord by making circle with his arms, but always whenever he tried to do like this, the Lord is outside of the circle. Prabhupada mentions wonderful point here. No one can capture the Supreme Lord or bring him under his control. But the demonic person always attempts to measure the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, so this is, Prabhupada further explains that, Lord, with his universal form, he can be present all over the universe. At the same time, out of his own sweet will, he can just, confide to a small box. Devotees have, DT boxes, and they put the Lord in a DT box and they carry wherever they go. But it's the Lord's will. And here, Prabhupada says that is not bound by any measurement of our calculation. He can remain with his devotee in any suitable form, yet is unapproachable by any amount of demonic activities. So the point here is that the Lord can only be approached by devotees. Lord can be bound by the devotion, not by our materialistic power. And we also see this from the pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna to the wooden grinding mortar, how she could bound the Lord. Only out of our pure devotion. And we have seen number of occasions that how Lord became the charioteer of Arjun out of his causeless mercy because of devotion only. Like that, there are number of examples in our scriptures that the principle is that the Lord is controlled by the devotees for their pure devotion. So that's one point. And then I wanted to say, let's see, 26.
Okay.
Yeah. So 26, another devotee can read this purport, small one. Yes, Bhuneshwar Mataji. We can't
Hare
hear
Krishna.
Hari Bol,
Hare
Hari.
Krishna purport. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyakashipu. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite all his demoniac maneuvers, was killed by the Lord when the Lord desired, simply by one slap.
So it's another purport I really liked. So yeah, he could have killed a long time ago, but Lord just wanted to have that playtime, and also Lord wanted him to the Hiranyaksha to display all his magical powers, and he just simply killed by one slap. It was a huge demon. We read in the chapter 17, they were touching sky. They had steel frames. Their body was like a huge mountain. So Lord can kill with one single slap. And so on that note, I was, while reading, I was remembering the pastime of this person, Lord Balram kills with the Kushak grass. What's his name? Anybody remembers? Romarshana Sutta. So Romarshana Sutta, that comes in the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Romarshana Sutta, who is the father of Sutta Goswami. So Sutta Goswami is narrating this to the sages of Naimisharanya. So Romarshana Sutta, father of Sutta Goswami, was actually speaking, speaking on the Puranas. And while he was lecturing, Lord entered that assembly. Lord Balram entered that assembly while Romarshana Sutta was speaking. So usually the speaker sits on in an elevated place. That is the custom. That is the norm. The speaker is given an elevated seat, and the audience are seated little lower than the speaker. And the speaker is not expected to stand up when someone comes because he is speaking. But however, in this case, it is different. Lord Balram, Supreme Lord, so he entered the assembly, and Romarshana Sutta did not get up. He was still sitting. All the sages who sat there stood up and welcomed Lord Balram. All the sages. Is the manner, good manners. Whereas this one person, Romarshana Sutta, who was sitting on Vyasasan, did not get up. And Lord Balram, he took a small grass, a piece of grass, and just threw at Romarshana Sutta. And he was killed. That's a separate story. And of course, there were other things in it, but we don't want to discuss now. I just wanted to mention that how here, Lord killed Hiranyaksha with a slap. And next, when the demon fell down, usually, in this call, there are some doctors also. When a person dies, how do their face or body appears? They usually lose their bodily luster. I don't know how many of you have seen the dead body, because of the presence of the soul, there is some glow in the body. But as soon as the soul leaves, that luster of the body goes away. It completely, body fades. Yeah. But however, this demon's body did not fade. So let's read that purport. So this is 27. So small purport, Madhav Kumar Prabhu, you want to read it out or you raise your hand?
Yeah, I could read, Prabhu.
Okay, so we know that you are here.
In the background here.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Just hiding from your gaze.
Hari.
Although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. And this is very peculiar because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale. The luster gradually fades and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyaksha lay dead, his bodily luster was unfaded because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. One's bodily luster remains fresh only as long as the spirit soul is present. Although the demon's soul had departed his body, the Supreme Spirit touched the body, and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. The individual soul is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate, and therefore personalities like Brahma and the other demigods eulogize the death of the demon. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So, yeah, this purport is self-explanatory because the body of demon was touched by the Lord, and his body did not fade. So it's still, his body was still glowing. There is another example in this connection. Anybody remembers? Similar, like something similar, not exactly similar, but close, very close. Putana's body.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to say a little bit about that?
I think, yeah, the story from reading the Krishna book, because the Lord accepted Putna as his mother, and held her close. When her body was kind of burned, it still smelled of a very, very fragrant incense because of the Lord touching her body.
Yes. So thank you, Madhav Kumar Prabhu. So now we are entering from one pastime to another pastime. We entered and we discussed about Romarshan Sutta. Now we are discussing about Putana's pastime. When they were burning the body of Putana, they had to cut her body into several pieces. Like it was like something like 12 miles long or something like that. When she fell down, she had assumed her original form. When she came to feed Krishna, she was like a beautiful angel. So, but they had to cut her body into several pieces and bone. But when her body was being burnt, a nice aroma came out of her body. Everyone in Vraja, in Gokul, they were thinking, what's happening? Where is this nice fragrant smell coming? It was coming from the body of Putana, because it was touched by the Lord. So that's wonderful to remember that pastime as well. But on that pastime, how do I miss one important thing before we move to some other thing? So there is one that actually comes somewhere in the third canto itself. It is said, Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigamsaya payayatapya sadve lebhe gatim datruchitam tatonyam khamva dayalum sharanam vrajema. So this demoness who came to Krishna to kill him with the intention of killing by feeding him poisonous milk. For that kind of lady, Krishna awarded position of a mother in the spiritual world. Dhatruchitam. She was awarded a position of a mother nurse in the spiritual world. See the greatness of Krishna. See how merciful this Lord is. She came to kill Krishna, but however, what she got at the end. So Lord thought that, yes, he did not see the bad side of it. Bad side was, she thought she would kill him. But, in that course, she actually offered her breast milk to the Lord. Okay, let me award her motherly position. Dhatruchitam. Kamva dayalum. Who is more merciful than Krishna? Sharanam Vrajema. Why should I take shelter of anyone else apart from this merciful Lord? Kamba Dayalum is very, very merciful. So when we come to the pastime of Putana, we should always remember this wonderful verse. And we have a few more minutes and we'll read a couple of more things. So verses 31, it's so after killing this demon, Lord Varaha returned to his original abode. And here it is said, where there is always uninterrupted festival. Who like the festival? We all like the festivals. Unfortunately, in this country, they only have one festival, major festival that comes in once in a year. And for that, they prepare whole year, I guess. Christmas, Easter a little bit. And at least in our line, we have several festivals, but they come now and then. So Monday is Advaita Acharya appearance day. and a week on Monday is Nityanand Trayadashi. And in March, we have Gaura Purnima. In April, we have Ram Navami. In May, probably Narshinga Chaturdashi. Like that. So we have some festivals. And when festival comes, everyone is, I still remember in my childhood, or like, now also, but in childhood, we used to be extremely happy, put on nice clothes, and the mood is completely different. So make nice, boga preparations, offer to the Lord and eat, and just be merry on that day. So here it is said that the spiritual world is a place where there is always uninterrupted festival. So that's why we should go there. So always we'll be having these wonderful festivals. So then Maitreya, he narrated this pastime to Vidura. We know that Vidura is hearing this pastime, and Maitreya says to Vidura that I have narrated this pastime as I have heard it from my superiors. I have not done any mixing. Mirchi masala, they call it. So they just add little more bits and bobs. But here Maitreya told Vidura, oh Vidura, I've narrated this entire pastime of Lord Bor, Varahadev killing Hiranyaksha, as I've heard it from my superiors. So that is important. And here Vidura felt extremely happy just by hearing. You can see he felt transcendental bliss by hearing the narration of the pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the benefit. When we hear, automatically we experience joy. And what to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whose chest is marked with Srivatsa, people may take transcendental pleasure even hearing the works and deeds of the devotees whose fame is immortal. This is another wonderful verse. What to speak of hearing the pastimes of Lord, but hearing the pastimes of his devotees also will give the same benefit. So that's why in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many historical narrations concerning Lord's devotees. All these, just by hearing them, one will get the same benefit. Here it is mentioned that how Lord, glory of the Lord, like, even an animal, elephant could surrender to the Lord. Lord, when he was attacked by this alligator, and Lord came and saved him. So even an animal. So this is the glory, just, of mention, the process of devotion, how potent it is. This Gajendra heard, performed devotion in the past life when he was a king, Indradyumna. So he could remember in the body of elephant, he could remember the prayers that he had learned while he was a king when practicing devotion. So that is the potency. We can also, if we hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, so there is definitely an opportunity for us to continue in the next birth as well. After this body, we will have that opportunity for us to either speak or hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And so such is the potency of these pastimes of the Lord, who will neglect to hear these pastimes. So that means every human being should use this opportunity of a human birth to hear, to glorify the Lord on a regular basis. So with that, we'll end chapter 19. So thank you so much. With that, the Varahadev pastime is completed. We know that there were two Varahas. One appeared in the beginning of first Manu. His name is Vaivasvata Manu. When Vaivasvata Manu requested Lord Brahma to retrieve Mother Earth from the Garbhodaka ocean, that time Lord Brahma was contemplating what to do. At that time, Lord Boar appeared through the nostril of Brahma and picked it up and placed in its position. But in that course, Maitreya also amalgamated another story that happened in the 6th Manvantara, Chakshuta Manvantara, where Lord Varaha killed Hiranyaksha. So he amalgamated. So that's why we happen to heard the entire pastime of how Hiranyaksha was killed by the boar, Varahadev. Shri Varahadev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Any comments, any questions?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Let's continue. Because of you all, I'm able to read on a regular basis. I'm forcing myself to read on a Thursday, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity of serving you this way. I'm very grateful to you all.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Varadev's appearance on the 13th. So you've
on the 13th.
put us a week ahead. Thank you for that.
Okay. So over to you, Madhav Kumar Prabhu, if you want to say anything.
No additional comments. Just after the break in Jan, we are in February now, so lots of festivals to look forward to. 13th, this Sunday, next Sunday is Varadev's appearance, and then Nityananda Prabhu's appearance. And yeah, just looking forward to celebrating with everyone. And first and third Saturday of the month, we're doing Mangal Aarati. So this Saturday is a full morning program in the temple, 5 a.m. onwards. So whoever can come is welcome.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananta Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.